Hi, let's get straight to it. Picture this, it's ancient Greece. You've got these philosophers, the Stoics, like guys like Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, big thinkers, right? And they're dealing with some heavy stuff like exile, political turmoil, plagues, basically life throwing every possible curveball imaginable, right? And now you think these guys would be constantly stressed, miserable, just counting down the days. But many of them were known for their calm, their resilience, stoicism. It wasn't that bad things didn't happen to them. They absolutely did. It was that they had stumbled upon a kind of mental operating system, a way of processing the world that didn't let the external chaos wreck their internal peace. They didn't have instant cake mix, but man, they were baking some serious mental fortitude. Fast forward a couple of thousand years, psychologists started digging into this. What was their secret? Well, what was the secret sauce? How did they manage to stay steady when the world was, frankly, a dumpster fire? They found something pretty profound. These ancient thinkers weren't just trying to change the uncontrollable events around them, they were changing something else entirely. The meaning they gave to those events. That's what they were changing. The meaning. The stories they told themselves about what was happening. It turns out this wasn't just some philosophical trick. It's a fundamental way our brains can work, and it has a name. It's cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing is basically a psychological technique where you learn to identify and then change the way you view situations and events, thoughts, or emotions, even. You're not denying reality, you're not pretending something bad is actually good. You're viewing it as neutral and applying your meaning to it. You're consciously choosing a different perspective, a different frame for the same picture. And then that shift in perspective can change everything from how you feel to what you do next. Think of it like this. Two people look at two people look at a rainstorm, right? One person sees a ruined picnic and a gloomy day. That's frame one, negative. And the other sees a much needed drink for the plants and a cozy afternoon indoors with a book. That's frame two, neutral, positive, if you want to call it that. Same rain, different frames. So the researchers found that when we actively work to change our frame, that mental labor leads to a kind of emotional love for the new perspective. So we put effort into finding a new useful or less painful way to see something, right? Then we suddenly have the new viewpoint and it feels more ours, more true, more empowering because we gave it power. Once you spot cognitive reframing, you see it everywhere, often in people who seem to navigate life with a little more grace, you would call it. Take athletes, like for example, a star player misses a crucial shot. They could frame it as one, I'm a choker, I let the team down. Total confidence crucial, right? But many athletes are masters of the reframe. They might tell themselves, okay, that shot didn't land, but what can I learn from this mechanic of this thing that happened? That miss is fuel for the next practice. It refines the skill that you already have, and suddenly that becomes data, motivation, a stepping stone, data. So think about entrepreneurs, right? Their entire journey is basically a series of unexpected problems. If they framed every no from an investor, every product bug, every competitor move as a catastrophe, they'd quit by week two. And instead, successful founders often reframe challenges as puzzles to be solved, feedback as a gift, even when it stings, like the pivots that they do with the input, the ability to adapt to the new information. It's the same with everyday stuff. You get critical feedback from your boss. Like, let's, again, old frame. Boss thinks I'm incompetent or I'm going to get fired. That's cue of anxiety. And you can reframe it with, oh, this is a very specific feedback and it shows an area in my work that I can grow in. My boss likes me because he gives me an honest opinion on how can I proactively change my behavior. That's great, right? Even in traffic, the old frame, that jerk, what an idiot, my day is ruined. So you can reframe it into, whoa, that person must be in a huge hurry or really distracted. I hope they get where they are going safely. Anyway, it's none of your problem. But you see how that even sometimes looks unnaturally, right? But you have to detach from the external and build your own perspective on things. Like these little mental shifts, reframes, what we call them now, are the gibbets for your brain. It's a small personalization making your internal narrative, your outlook, your unique way to be more resilient. So okay, we know what it is, but how do you actually do this cognitive reframing thing and make it work for you so you're not just getting tossed around by every negative thought or a situation or what used to be negative? Well, luckily it can be boiled down or broken down into a few simple steps. Think of it as your mental toolkit, especially when it comes down to this simple equation. You identify the negative frame, you challenge it, you create new frames, and then strengthen the new frame, right? This leads to less stress, more resilience, better choices, greater well-being. So you have to catch the frame. You gotta get good at noticing your feelings, your emotions, your thinking, your beliefs that are at the core of all those. Your beliefs are at the core, especially the ones that make you feel bad, anxious, fearful, stuck. So what does the story immediately is in your head? What is the horror story? Is it a tragedy? Is it a comedy? And then you have to stop, take a step back, and turn it around into something that suits your purpose, your way, your path in life. Your purpose has to be the guidance for what you do, not how you feel in the moment. Thank you.